Okay. Hi everyone, welcome to my presentation. My name is Dr. Paul Oliver from Edinburgh Napier University, and today I'm going to talk to you about innovative online learning in entrepreneurship education, in particular music management. So I'm aware I only have about 10 minutes to present, so it will be a condensed version of an article I published last year. However, I'll share the link at the end via QR code, so you can read it in your own convenience. So over the last 10 years, information and communication technologies, or ICTs, have played an integral part in the delivery of online learning in HE and are now seen as providing significant opportunities for the development of critical thinking skills. Applied areas of entrepreneurship are grown in popularity due to the ongoing need for students to gain specialised skills to find employment after graduation. As a result, there's been a movement towards more active and experientially based learning, particularly in business and management subjects, with the support of VLE front and back-end technologies. So the overall aim of this paper was to explore how educational scaffolding can facilitate the delivery of online experiential activities to improve the learning experience and the performance of, for this study, music management students. So just to summarize, educational scaffolding is used as a support mechanism to assist learners with problem solving, performing tasks, and accomplishing their aims in a measured, self-determined approach that is independent of tutor interventions. It defines the tutor's role as that of a facilitator whose responsibility is to enable learners to understand the knowledge they're studying. When the learner starts using this understanding of the knowledge, they begin to show the self-regulating capability of an independent learner. From here, confidence grows and the learner gradually reduces reliance on some of the scaffolding, or at least that's the intention. And we used a case study methodology for this paper to present two scenarios of innovative online learning of one of our modules on the postgraduate program in music management. The module was titled Copyright and Law, and it was in the academic year 2019-2020. As I'm sure you remember, due to the breakout of COVID-19, all on-campus teaching was transferred online, and tutors delivering practical modules were required to redesign their assessments for online delivery. This created several challenges for subjects in entrepreneurship education more broadly, but specifically music management, which ordinarily depend on practical group work and face-to-face interaction. For this study, we used different methods for collecting primary data, including participant observation, self-reflection on practice, semi-structured interviews and informal conversations between colleagues, as well as valuable VLE data from students. For the sake of time, I'll only look at one of the cases. This one is contract negotiation as role play. So as part of the final assessment for the copyright and law module, learners had to actively participate in a contract negotiation role play between an artist manager and a record label executive, summarized here in the table. Ordinarily, this assessment would take place towards the end of the module and had always been delivered face-to-face. However, due to the pandemic, with all teaching delivered online, an alternative assessment was created whereby the tutors delivered all activities via the VLE. And we had 30 students divided into pairs and then allocated a number between 1 and 15. In each pair, one person was given a specific scenario about an artist manager, and the other was given a different scenario relating to a record label manager. They then spent 10 minutes studying the brief and breaking the ice with each other in the roles. With the negotiation being online, we were able to use Blackboard Collaborate, initially addressing the whole group and then putting them into virtual breakout rooms of 2 people. They were given a maximum of 1 hour to discuss and negotiate the terms of a contract and had to come to an amicable agreement by the end of the allocated time. Students were encouraged to take notes and put their cameras on to enhance their ability to communicate well with each other. Once the negotiations began, we, the teaching team, divided the student observations 50-50 and visited each breakout room with microphone and camera off, observing each pair for 5 or 6 minutes before moving to the next room. From these observations, we took notes to cross-reference with the assessment's marking scheme before swapping students to observe. Approximately 20 minutes into the negotiation, we threw a curveball. We sent direct messages via chat to each individual student, informing them of a change in circumstances specifically related to their scenario, which they then had to improvise and adapt as they continued to negotiate. When a pair had agreed on the terms of contract, they would both use raise hand function, and one of the teaching team would join the breakout room to agree the successful completion of the task. So our findings showed that this mode of delivery allowed us to observe each negotiation in a focused way without distraction, which helped in the assessment process. Once the role play had started, we were able to move between virtual breakout rooms almost anonymously, or at least discreetly, with no need for students to worry about other groups listening into conversations and thus reducing any potential competitiveness. And in our roles, we're more like moderators or facilitators, even though from a student's perspective, we would join each breakout room only for a short period of time. Nevertheless, we're able to consistently assess the activities, and from our perspective, this was a much more efficient method of observation and assessment because we knew we had limited time to move around and listen. As tutors, we were able to support the process so that they felt comfortable enough to perform as they would have done face-to-face. For this reason, there was a great deal of work involved in the preparation of the virtual space. It was important that the students could complete a complicated task in a simple way. That's what we tried to do. With some basic information, the learners were able to build awareness about their respective roles, and this gave them a platform from which to start negotiating. In this situation, for some of the students who are experiencing it for the first time, the immediate reaction was to panic or become anxious. However, the tutors were able to provide reassurance for these learners through the various forms of online communication. As they begin to settle into the role, it's obvious that there's more spontaneity and improvisation in the conversation, and they were able to innovate a lot more using basic terminology and concepts. However, more significantly, in a short space of time, we could see the learners grow in confidence about how they interacted with each other and their ability to make decisions. So in conclusion, with regard to theoretical underpinning, we relied on educational scaffolding and specific aspects of experiential learning to explain how ICT tools support both tutors and learners in the delivery of practical activities. In terms of practical implications, this study is relevant afield to academics working in HE, particularly those involved in the applied subjects such as music management. If provided with an appropriate online setup using a VLE, we feel students do not have to be in an industry setting to acquire valuable experience of work situations, which can effectively be replicated and in some cases enhanced. Moreover, due to the improved accessibility of facilitating complex real-life industry activities within the VLE, we didn't just do role play, we also did masterclasses this way. Industry professionals are able to be more open to the possibility of contributing to these programs when there's a demand for shared industry knowledge and experience. So they were the main kind of conclusions that we drew. Here are my references. I realized that was quite quick that I went through, but I think I've just hit the 10 minutes. So thank you. If you have any questions, please put them in the chat and feel free to scan the QR code. It has my details there. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Paul. Paul, do you have to now? I know that you're up against it in terms of time, so
have a couple of minutes. Yeah.
If anyone does have one quick question for Paul, if you could raise your hand, we will unmute you so you can ask the question. If not, we'll let Paul go because Paul has very kindly joined us on a very tight schedule today. So I really do appreciate you kind of making the time. So thank you.
My pleasure.
Okay, we don't have any hands up yet. So I'm going to say if you do have any questions, as Paul said, pop it in the chat and we'll get back to you as soon as we can. Gail has just put her hand up. Gail, I'll be quick. Hang on. Okay, Gail, you should be able to unmute your mic.
Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to ask a question. You mentioned that you threw a curveball during the collaborate session. What was that curveball that you threw?
So we had a set scenario for the two, the pair of students. One was an artist manager, the role of an artist manager. The other one was a record label executive. What we tried to do to make it more realistic, we threw in some information about those two respective roles that wasn't introduced at the beginning, and even the people who were taking on those roles didn't know, and so that changed the course of the negotiation. Does that answer?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Okay, I think we'll leave it there because Paul does have to dash off. But thank you so much. Thank you.
Thanks, Phil. Thanks very much. All the best.